Where'll you be going?
Texas?
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Go on, make it happen.
And now here's Steve and Michelle.
Welcome from the heart of Dripping Springs. We are Mallet and Michelle, hosted by me, Michelle Lewis, and Steve Mallet.
Michelle, how are you doing?
I woke up this morning feeling like absolute garbage. And for anybody who wants to know what garbage is, that's French for trash, but I prefer rubbish.
Oh, I shouldn't say that's what half the country is, but
I'm garbage.
we're not going to do that. Why are you garbage?
I'm just kidding.
Let's do our guest first. Is Brian Stackhouse.
Yes, from AJI
Inspectors. That's a tongue twister.
I knew I was going to get it wrong.
Yeah, we've never had an inspector on, and even though you and I work with inspectors all the time because of our real estate business, I think the average person probably doesn't know exactly what they do and how they do it, and find out about licensing and all that stuff. So Brian's going to come in and tell us all about it.
That's right. And we work with him with our Dripping Springs Elite Real Estate Professionals. He's one of our advertisers there.
And one of our biggest advocates. He's probably helped us bring in 10 other advertisers.
He's
he really
an
is a big believer in the group.
Speaking of advertisers, Mallet.
Yes, we'd like to thank Capital Farm Credit.
Nomic Power Solutions.
And the Mallet Integrity Team.
Who's
Couldn't
that?
do it without you folks.
Who's Mallet Integrity Team?
Mallet
Wait,
Integrity
that's
Team.
you, me, and Cedric, and Maury, and Ryan, and Mally, and
yes,
look at
that's
that.
right. All of us, yeah. I want to, before I ask you how you're doing, I wanted to give a quick shout out. We went by Patriots Hall. They had an art show there this past Saturday.
Yes.
Very cool. It was all veterans and family of veterans, all their artwork. We were walking around, and I took my dad there, my 82-year-old dad, who's living over in Jovi, Belterra. And we were just walking around checking things out. And this guy comes up, and he's got a little name tag on it. It says Rick. And he said, hey, would you guys like a little tour? And he starts giving us the tour, and real super nice guy. And I said, so Rick, what's your last name? He said, Barnett. And he goes, have you heard of Shorty Barnett? Which everybody's heard of Shorty. I said, are you related to Shorty? He goes, I knew Shorty for 55 years. He was my dad.
Aw.
And so Rick Barnett, super nice guy.
Gave you a tour?
Gave us a private tour. Him and my dad talked about, because Rick is a Navy veteran, and they had some, even though my dad's a little older than Rick is, they had some overlap, and I guess they were sort of, their rating or whatever they call it was similar in the Navy. So they started talking like two old sailors. I loved it. It was really great. But the reason I'm bringing that up is I'm very proud of Dripping Springs and all the people that came out to support Patriots Hall with donations, financially, just supporting, every event that they did. We need to be very proud in this town. Across all political divides, we all came together to do something great, and we should all be proud of that.
I agree, and at some point, Catherine Chandler will finally agree
Please,
to
Catherine,
get on the podcast.
text Michelle.
For sure.
Mallet and Michelle at gmail.com.
I keep bugging her, and you know what? The nicest thing about her is that she is so humble.
I agree.
She just doesn't think
I don't think she understands why we want to have her on. It's like, why would you want to have me on?
Yeah.
Of course we want to have you on.
She doesn't get it. And, with all the divide and everything that's going on in this country, to be able to have a program and this community come together for our veterans and their families, that's special.
It's huge. It's very huge. And they are doing some really cool stuff there for veterans and just for the community in general.
The vision in general is wonderful. It's wonderful. But, speaking of community and divide, somebody is being mean to me out there in the cyber world, Steve.
Why? What? To Michelle Lewis?
Yeah. At first when I heard about it, it made me pause a little bit, and then it fired me up. Apparently, there is a secret, private, whatever. People are allowed to have some
clandestine
group out there, and they are either stalking my social media or. Obviously, they don't have to stalk the podcast. By all means, thanks, because you're building up my algorithm and our listens on our podcast. But I guess a picture that I had with the governor triggered somebody, and I've been called some ugly words and nasty, and
Are you? So I haven't seen that.
well, you wouldn't, because you're not a part of this group,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't sit there and trash somebody online.
But is this? Have you actually seen it, or are you just hearing it third party?
I am hearing it third party,
Yeah.
and it's okay. It's okay. No one is my judge except my maker, and I only answer to him. But one of the things that I thought is that someone who doesn't like you, there's a couple of things about that. It's none of my business if they don't like me, right? I just made them aware of what they're not doing, and I didn't do anything wrong. I just happened to, quote, trigger them, which is a trigger word for most people, and they can't cope being who I am, and I'm proud of who I am. And one of the biggest reasons people target others is because they see themselves or other people as a threat. And whatever. I mean, I stand up for my morals and my principles and what I believe in. And the reason why we started this podcast is so that we could sit down and break bread with people and find out about people's lives from all walks of life, whether or not you agree with them politically or not. And I think a lot of things can be true. You can be conservative and fill in the blank. You can be progressive and fill in the blank. You don't have to have everything down straight in line and check all the boxes.
No, I agree. And actually, a reminder why we started the podcast. You just said it. We wanted to bring the community together. Now, that doesn't mean we don't continue to have our own opinions in life.
Absolutely.
Which we they're not overt on the podcast, but if you listen long enough, you kind of get an idea of who we both are. But wanted to point out, we're 150 episodes in today.
Yes.
150 episodes. 80% of the podcasts that are created around the world only make it past 10 episodes, and we're 150 episodes.
Look at that.
in. I know,
Way to go.
I know. So we've created something here where people can come in, tell their story, and the neighbors in Dripping Springs can get to know that person more on a personal level other than just a sentence on Facebook, which is so easy to target and be mad at. You know, we've had people of all political persuasions come in. In fact, I want to remind people that Michelle and I are very curious people. And if you have a different point of view and you can come in and talk to us and we can all have a conversation and learn from each other, please email us. We want to have you on.
Absolutely.
I think one of the worst things that's happening in this country right now is that people, and you referred to this group, they live in these little echo chambers where they all say the things that they say to each other, the things that they want to hear, and they never hear anybody else's point of view. Even if that other differing point of view makes a lot of sense, they never hear it.
You're exactly right. And we don't get it right all the time.
Exactly,
and you know what?
yeah.
And I like to be educated or, quote, schooled by people, but don't come at me or attack me personally. And I pride myself, you and I both, we pride ourselves on this podcast of being authentic people, and the good, bad, and the ugly. There have been days where we have walked in here and we have not felt like getting behind this microphone. And by the end of that hour, it was the best thing that we did that day.
Best part of our day. Yeah.
Every single time.
Well, and I think what a lot of people don't think about is at this point, we have almost 250 hours of recorded material. I guarantee you anybody of any with any belief system could listen to all of that and find some reason to be mad at us, even though our intention with this podcast is to build up this community and make this community closer together. That was the whole reason we started it.
Yeah, you're
to
right.
Bring the community together.
You know, who I am, I'm a Christian, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a sister, and I'm a part of this community. I've been a part of this community for going on almost 20 years now. I've raised my children here, and I love Dripping Springs. And I will continue to fight for what I believe in, and I stand on it.
Yep.
And if you don't like me, I'm going to stand by what I have said in the past. I'm like cilantro. Either you like me or I taste like soap.
I have a story kind of piggybacking on that about political messages, text messages.
Oh, my
How many
goodness.
freaking political text messages did you get this cycle?
Mine is more emails. It wasn't so
Really?
much the
I'm
text
getting
messages.
both.
The emails are crazy.
Yeah. Well, Joanna Stern from the Wall Street Journal did a test. She was getting roughly 100 political messages a day.
No.
Yes.
A text or
Text messages, yes.
Oh, I'd lose my mind.
Yes, agreed. And so as a test, she picked one. It was somebody very prominent. She didn't say who it was. And it says, if you don't want to receive any more text messages from this group, reply stop. So she replied stop. The messages increased threefold within 24 hours. And so she did a little bit of digging, and the way these texts work is it's done by a third party group, and they have texts. They send texts from 100 different political campaigns. So say you get one from, just make it up, Ted Cruz, and you go stop. Well, Ted Cruz won't text you anymore, but that group that controls all that information says, oh, we got a live number here, and they share it with 25 other, that they share it with, somebody that's Prop A and somebody that's for, whatever.
Can you just report it as junk? Like, how your iPhone now says you can report it?
Yes. If Apple gets enough of those, they will show that it's targeted spam, but it doesn't seem like that's really
I keep
working.
trying to report your text as junk, but you keep getting
work.
through.
And I'm relentless. Have you done this yet, Michelle?
Are you at work yet?
Yeah. So apparently in the past, it used to work that you could say stop, and if it was from a legitimate campaign or business, they would actually stop. Well, now it's not like that. So Joanna Stern, her recommendation is don't show signs of life.
Oh,
never
interesting.
reply, never say stop, never click on the link, just delete them, report them as junk, and move on. There are some apps that you can get. There's one, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called Stop Donation Spam app. It's $10 a year. And if the problem is, if like for us, if that number is not in your contacts, it sends it to spam. So say somebody texts me and goes, hey, I'm selling my house in Sunset Canyon. Can you come over and talk to me? If they're not in my contacts, it goes to spam.
See,
so I can't afford to do
as a real
that.
estate agent, you can't do that. No.
But maybe
And
for
me,
your average person that's not using
I
your
can't
phone.
either because of all of our guests. Too.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. So it doesn't really work.
I have everybody's phone number it's ever been. You guys want you want Ty Meyer's phone number? Call me up. Just kidding. I won't give you Ty Meyer's
She
phone
will
number.
not do it. I promise. It's confidential. But I don't know if there's an answer for how to fix this. I think the best thing you can do right now is never reply, never click on the link, and just hit delete and report as junk and just kind of live with it. But I think it's going to get a lot worse.
Not to poke the bear, but remember when Beto O'Rourke was campaigning for governor and they would send these text messages and my entire family would send back.
They would reply back?
They would reply because it was an actual person.
Oh,
too.
geez.
They would reply back. So speaking of technology, do you share your passwords with people? Netflix or like any of your streaming services.
I do share Netflix.
Aren't you on I think you're on my.
Don't tell Amazon. I'm on your Prime account.
Yeah, you're on my Prime account.
Yes.
You need to get Disney or something for me. I need a
You
share
need a
for
quid
share.
pro quo.
Yeah. Well, you know that Netflix, they stopped that password sharing thing that they were doing. They tried to crack down on it. And when they did that, they added, get this, they added 62 million subscribers to Netflix when they stopped the allowing of the password. Now, which is kind of funny because yesterday I logged onto my password and I noticed that Tate now has a profile on my password. I don't know how he did that, but I guess maybe
it doesn't seem. My kids are using my Netflix, and
no, wait. I think
two
what
of
it
my
is,
kids.
I think
actually,
because
three
you
of my
can
kids.
add them as a user, right? But then
Yeah.
if they log, I think it's like
If
random.
they log out, then it's not doesn't ever work
Maybe,
again.
I don't know, because Logan was using some friends of ours' password from the beginning of Netflix, and I think just until last year he ended up getting his own Netflix, which is actually kind of funny, for like 10 years. But their shares also after that increased 120%. after they
See, I
stopped
just
doing
read
that.
something the other day that Netflix subscribers plummeted after something happened. I don't remember what it was, but I wonder.
Well, they also added ads, and so now you have to
Yeah.
pay for the ads, but
pay for
for
the
commercials
service without ads.
But
Yeah.
wasn't that, I don't know, called television back in the day?
I think the same thing. It's like, what are we going back full circle? Because it's on Amazon too. So you pay, what's Amazon Prime now? $180 a year?
Oh my gosh, it's insane.
Yeah. Well, but you get free shipping.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I can get a lot of shipping for $180
You used to get the next day free shipping, and now it's like whenever. But they made roughly $1 billion after all of this, but they won't lower their prices. So that just goes. And in addition to that, there's also a new rule by the FTC. I think that's the Federal Trade Commission.
Yeah.
It's called a click to cancel rule. And if you sign up with one click, you should be able to cancel with one click.
You know, it's funny that you say that. So I think it's kind of a scam. So say you sign up for Peacock and they go, hey, if you pay for a year, it's whatever it is, $129 or whatever. So you pay the $129 and then you watch Peacock for a month and you go, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I don't like it. And you cancel it. They don't give you any of your money back. They say, guess what? Next year in November of 2025, your service will not renew. I think that needs to be fixed.
Oh, yeah. You should be able to prorate it.
It should, yeah. I don't know when that happened because it used to be, if you had a newspaper subscription, and you canceled it halfway through, they said, well, you prepaid up front. Here's your 50% of your money back. Now they go, no, we're just not. I think that needs to be fixed.
That's a new business model over the last maybe decade or so, is the subscriptions is the way to get the money.
Yeah.
That is, that's on everything. That's like when you go get massages and med spas and
Have you ever gone in
car
your
washes.
phone and looked at your subscriptions to make sure that you're only paying for stuff you're using?
I'm not doing it. It's scary.
But if you do it, you know what? It's really easy because if you use an iPhone, and you go into your subscriptions, there's just one click, now they don't refund your money, but at least it doesn't renew it.
But don't you ever get like that random text and it says your MasterCard was charged $7.99 by Apple iTunes or whatever, and you're like, what did I buy for $7? Or what is my subscription?
I do get those.
What is that? I think also it's because I just upped my cloud storage.
Oh yeah.
And but like sometimes it's just random. Or Kendall, who also is on my Apple, who's going to be a mother in a couple of months, will say, "Oh, I bought a movie."
Oh God.
So thanks, Kendall.
Yeah. The worst part is say if in my example with Peacock, it's for a year subscription. And you forget all about it, and then it renews, and you go, I don't want Peacock anymore. And so it's November 5th or whatever, and you cancel it. You pay for the next year anyway. You don't get any of your money back. The reminder is, hey, we just charged your card $130. Like, damn it, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid. But
your story is next.
Oh, my story's next?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Okay.
I think it was.
I don't
I'm not gonna say.
I don't even know if you're ready for this one.
I am not ready for this.
Okay.
I can tell you.
There's a new drug out there, and parents need to be aware. It's been around for, since 2018 in Latin communities, but it's just now hit not only the United States, but the Texas area. It's called pink cocaine.
Oh, geez.
Federal drug agents have found it in October. They found it here in Austin. In Austin in October. It's also called Tusi or Tucci or Tusibi, or some people are calling it a speedball, which but it's bright pink.
I thought speedball was.
I know, but that's just.
Jeez, I don't even know. I thought that was heroin, but I don't know.
Well, okay, so it's a mixture of meth, ketamine, fentanyl, and heroin and other drugs.
Geez.
Yeah, and it has a sweet smell, and it's dyed pink to look like some new drug, kind of like in that show Breaking Bad, where their meth was blue, and so it's just a kind of
differentiated from other drugs.
Yeah, this is scary. This is really, really scary in the sense that they're attracting kids with this new shiny toy.
That's super scary because they're concocting these things with all these different chemicals, one of which could be fentanyl.
Well,
we've had Anthony Hippolito on a couple times, who's spearheading Hayes County, raising awareness about fentanyl in our community, and there could be fentanyl in there in doses that are lethal.
Well, even I was hearing that there were kids that were even, I don't even know what the correct term for this is, but they were manufacturing their own vape cartridges. I could see this stuff being put into these vape cartridges or fentanyl or something like that, and you're thinking you're getting some nicotine vape or whatever, which is rampant at the high school and the middle schools. Rampant, crazy. I know that when you and I went to high school, our high schools had smoking wings, right?
Yes.
That was in the
You went out back
80s.
and smoked,
You went out back, or, there was areas that, being a president of a certain club, we weren't allowed to go down the smoking wing. You couldn't go down there. But, I mean, we know, the more we know, the better we do, right? Smoking's bad, blah, blah, blah. But these vapes that are going around the school, and now this like pink cocaine, these drugs, I don't get it. Like, pay attention to what your kids are doing, guys.
I mean, when I was growing up, drugs were pretty basic.
You had the basic drugs, Steve?
Well, but I mean, for the most part, they weren't laced with other things, and there weren't.
Yeah.
I think the marijuana that's sold today compared to the marijuana when I was a kid, it's probably 100 times more potent.
Well, it's all because it's hydroponic, right? It's because it's all lab grown.
Yeah.
And so it's more, I guess potent is what the word you used. Yeah. But just pay attention. They said to even pay attention to your kids' text messages if you get a chance. The younger ones, there's emojis that you need to look out for. I don't know exactly. I mean, kids these days, I don't understand half the hell that they're saying.
It's funny that you're talking about that, because not only now do we have to worry about the stuff we put in our bodies from the grocery store, we got all these illicit drugs going around. I didn't think we're going to have time for this, but we don't know at this point who's going to win the presidential election. This will come out next week. Hopefully we'll know by then.
Yes.
But did you hear that if Trump wins, he's talking about putting RFK Jr. in as to head up the FDA?
FDA. There was a couple of other 3-letter organizations. I like RFK Jr. I don't like everything he says, but I like a lot of what he says. And
what stuff do you not like?
There's just some other non-health related things, opinions that he had that I just don't agree with. But and then I don't think all vaccinations are bad. But I do think that the level, now that I'm going to have a granddaughter in February, I've been telling Kendall, we really need to pay attention on the amount of vaccinations and the non-spacing out of these vaccinations. And so paying attention to him and what he has said, I
think the biggest thing that he's talked about that rings true with me is that a lot of the advice we get from these government organizations is influenced by money.
Oh, they're fueled. They're fueled by the pharmaceutical.
And that worries me, and I think that needs to be cleaned up, that you can't have somebody that's giving recommendations from a government organization that benefits financially from those recommendations. And geez, I go in the grocery store now. I was trying to buy freaking salad dressing the other day, and I'm like, okay, I got to avoid seed oils. And H-E-B has 500 salad dressings. And if you look, the number one thing on almost all of them is canola oil. It's like, canola oil's bad. It's like, I just want real information at some point. We talked about it last week with Courtney. It's so hard to find real information anymore about the stuff that we buy and put in our bodies.
There's so many outside influences nowadays on our government and our health and just every day. And aren't we a republic? Aren't we based on, we the people, we are supposed to elect people that work for us, and they have our best interest at heart and not their bank accounts?
Oh boy, we're getting political, but that's been turned on its head in the last 25 years. I'm not sure I want to go there yet.
Yeah, but,
look up the word oligarchy. I think you'll find that that's probably more appropriate for where we are this day and age.
Well,
than,
hopefully the world isn't
Republic.
burning by the time this podcast
Yeah,
comes
and
out.
and you know what? If it is, just close the window shades and put your headphones on and listen to Mallet and Michelle on Dripping Springs.
That's right. That's right. Well, we are going to be back. We're going to have Brian Stackhouse on and sit down and listen.
You're going to like Brian. He
He's a
is a
nice
great guy. So we're going to take a little break and be right back with Brian Stackhouse.
Are you tired of being left in the dark when the power goes out? Say goodbye to blackouts with Nomic Power Solutions.
As your full-service Generac dealer, they offer individually designed backup power solutions.
From start to finish, they've got you covered.
Nomic Power Solutions, keeping you powered up.
Call or text 512-387-4232 or visit nomicpower.com. Follow on Instagram at Nomic Power for updates.
Nomic Power Solutions. Protect your home, protect your family, stay ready. Proudly sponsored by
At Capital Farm Credit, they understand that owning land is more than just a transaction. It's a legacy, a future, and a place to call your own.
For generations, Capital Farm Credit has been the trusted lending partner for land loans, farmers, ranchers, and rural dreamers just like you.
Their personalized loan solutions cater to your unique needs, making the journey to land ownership smoother than ever.
Capital Farm Credit, your land, your legacy. Visit capitalfarmcredit.com or Mark Rutledge at 512-892-4425.
Capital Farm Credit, an equal credit housing lender.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Mallet Integrity Team of real estate professionals. They are based in Dripping Springs and bring you over 45 years of combined experience helping people reach their hill country real estate dreams. When you want the best in town, call them at 512-829-2062 or look them up at malletintegrityteam.com. And now, here's Steve and Michelle.
And we're back with Brian Stackhouse of AJI Inspections. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
You'll be happy to know I didn't hack the name of your company like Michelle did right before you came in.
I said AGI, then I said AJI, then I said JI, and I said, oh, forget it.
Welcome to the show, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here.
So we were talking before we started recording. I've known you a couple years. You've been a great advertiser with Dripping Springs Elite Real Estate Professionals, and we've appreciated that you and you contribute a lot. But, when you get down to it, we really don't know you all that well. So, that's what this is about. So tell us how you ended up in Dripping Springs and where you grew up.
So I'm originally from Houston, Texas, right outside in Cypress. About ninth grade year, my mom got a job in Arizona. We left Texas.
Okay.
And I always tried to get back. So I grew up there, lived in Arizona, lived in Colorado, came back to Texas, had some rough times, joined the military, went away, had a great time.
Yeah.
How old were you when you joined the Marines?
I turned 23 in boot camp. So I was an old guy.
Yeah.
Is that an old guy?
It is, yeah.
Oh,
Most
geez.
people are about 18 when they go in.
Yeah.
I had one drill instructor. He was younger than me, and that was kind of interesting. But yeah,
Where'd you go to boot camp?
San Diego.
You did, yeah. How'd you like that?
It basically saved my life.
Well,
Best way to say it. I was not the best citizen before I joined the Marine Corps, and so it just gave me that purpose and that structure that I was missing as a younger man. And
well, your frontal lobes weren't developed yet.
correct. I don't know if they are now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Look at Steve. You can be a functioning member of society and not have your
It's
frontal
true.
lobes.
You just fake it till you make it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Do you remember who your drill instructor was at?
Absolutely. I remember all 5 of them.
Oh, do you really?
Very, very vividly. Yes.
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
A friend of mine was a drill instructor down there, Gary Ikeda, a Hawaiian guy, was like 5'6", and he could just yell like you would not believe.
It is an impressive skill that I'm pretty sure they teach them. Yeah,
I'm
so.
sure they do.
Yeah.
How many years did you serve?
I only did 4. I did my 4 and out.
Never say only.
Yeah, well, it was long enough.
Never say.
Where'd you
say
get
only.
stationed?
I spent a year in Okinawa and then the rest of the time in Camp Pendleton, California.
Oh
Camp
wow!
Pendleton. I know Camp Pendleton well.
Yeah.
What did you do? Were you infantry?
No. I was in communications.
Okay.
My radio, this is way back when. I was in from 95 to 99.
Okay.
And my radio was actually basically a camper on the back of a Humvee. and we had 2 8-foot parabolic dishes.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it was kind of long range communications.
You know, I lived in Oceanside during that time. Wouldn't it be funny if you and I were in the same place at that same time? It's a small world.
Yeah, I went to boot camp 95, then 96 was pretty much in Okinawa the whole year. 96 came back 97, 98, 99.
And got out
in Camp Pendleton.
So where'd you go after you left the Marine Corps?
I joined a communications company doing microwave radio shots. That's what I did in the Marine Corps, microwave radio, and building those shots for telecommunications in California. Then went to Colorado. They sent me there. I'd already lived there once in Boulder. My wife, I met my wife in 97 in California.
In California?
Yeah. Yeah. And then we got married in 98. She was a special ed teacher and she wanted to get out.
Well, she was one of the early ones.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, we've been married 26 years now.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Denver after I got out of the military, spent 15 years in Denver. And now we're here. We got here in 2014.
So the 15 years, did you do the communications thing in Denver?
I did.
But then somewhere along the way, you were in construction.
Yep,
so
for sure.
Is that when you moved to Texas, you got into construction?
I got into construction, the telecommunications side of construction in Denver. I used to work for a phone company as a tier 3 technician, kind of went up into senior management, realized I'm not really a suit and tie kind of boardroom guy.
Yeah.
I know I don't want to go that route. Got out, became an operations manager for a company that was building data centers.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of traveled a lot doing that. Spent a lot of time in Alaska.
Wow.
Building Verizon Wireless's first entrance into Alaska.
Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
But that was cold.
It's an interesting place for
Yeah.
sure.
Where in Alaska?
Anchorage.
Anchorage.
Yeah. It was a good time.
Were you there in the winter?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Well, isn't it always winter?
Even the summer is winter. It is. It is nuts.
Actually, well, we were there in July a couple years ago, and it was, I'd say it was pleasant. It was, I mean, it was cold, much colder than here, but it was pleasant. But the winters, the cold along with the no daylight or very little daylight.
Yes.
Did you have any depressing thoughts during that time?
No, luckily I wasn't there long enough.
Yeah.
Over about a 2-year span, I was there about total 7 months.
Okay.
So I was there in the summer and the fall, the winter, all of that.
A big difference from Hawaii where you lived. Yeah.
Yeah. I never lived in Hawaii.
You visited.
I visited.
Your stalking sucks today, Michelle.
You know what? I'm a little off today.
Come on, you can get it.
I'm a little off today.
But where I want to end up is Hawaii.
Oh.
Do you want to retire there?
Yeah.
Really?
Where? Which island?
We're not sure yet. We've been to all the islands except for Big Island. That's one of the next
You don't think you'll get stir crazy?
No, not there.
My son did when he was stationed in Puerto Rico, and he got island crazy. Yeah, it was a little hard for him at some time because it was so long to get somewhere, and then the things that were on the island you couldn't really get until they opened the Costco in Puerto Rico, and he was like, "Yes, I'm good."
Yeah, I don't think I'd do well on an island, but I don't know. Hawaii's pretty cool.
It's just we've traveled a lot.
Yeah,
it's just a spectacular place.
Oh, it is. Yeah. So you started building the data centers somewhere along the way, you started doing construction in Austin.
Correct. Yes. So I worked there. We don't have any children. We have pets. My wife, we got our first dog when we moved to Colorado. She's never experienced that connection, I guess is the best way to say it. So when those 2 dogs passed, it was kind of devastating. And we were already, Denver had grown so much that we were ready to move, make a transition.
Yeah.
It was between going back to San Diego, going to Nashville, or coming to Austin. And she always asked me, would you ever go to Texas again? And I said, there's only one place I would live. And I used to, as a young kid, go with some friends, parents. We'd go to Inks Lake for 2 weeks a year.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And we'd drive through this sleepy little bitty town called Dripping Springs.
No way.
Yeah. And we would stop and buy these tacos. And I always told everyone, I'm like, God, I love this little town. This is where I want to live one day because it was beautiful and everything. And lo and behold, kind of made it happen. And
Destiny's a wonderful thing.
yeah.
You know, while you're talking, this is my faux pas. Okay, I'm going to just tell you what an idiot I am. When you said Okinawa, I thought Hawaii. That's
You're
why.
awesome, Michelle.
I am. I'm
you
a
are
little
so
off.
awesome.
You know what? We normally do these first thing in the morning, and I just had chips and queso.
Okinawa,
Yeah.
Hawaii.
I'm an idiot. Continue.
Okinawa's an island. So
Yes,
you're
I know.
halfway there.
Hey, I was close. I was close. So, what does she think of Austin or Texas in general?
She loves it. When we first moved here, she wanted to call her mom and yell at her mom and say, I should have been a Texan.
Yeah. Is she
so-
still teaching?
No. Now she's a project manager she just got laid off in April.
Oh, goodness.
But she worked there 16 years. So she's trying to figure out what she wants to be when she grows up.
Yeah, me too.
You guys have had a pretty diverse background. You've done a lot. Both of you have done a lot of different things.
For sure. Yeah. We like to try new things and
Learn new things.
Exactly.
That's the way Michelle and I are. We just like learning something new and trying new things and different experiences that, learn along the way.
Sometimes it's actually by accident.
well, that's true. That's
Oops,
true.
I learned that one new. So I want to know, when did you get into this obsession with scary clowns and haunted houses?
Yeah. So that's been, I grew up with two older brothers.
So they tortured you.
They tortured me.
Yeah.
They'll even tell you that to this day. I don't like snakes.
Me
and it's
either.
Pretty much because of them. I don't like heights.
Probably because of them. they hang you over a roof or something?
Yeah,
or
they
throw
threw me
you?
on the roof.
Threw you, okay.
Oh,
And that's how they used to babysit me. Is, part of it. And they just always would scare me. So I was always a scared younger man. And I don't know. I guess it transitioned into, I enjoyed watching people get scared, and then I enjoyed scaring people. And now,
So the Michelle looked it up and she showed me some pictures. It's a haunted house in Pflugerville.
Yep.
How many years you been doing?
He's been doing it 13 years. This is his 13th year. He used to be my superintendent at the last construction company I worked for. And we just remained friends and had that kind of passion of,
So do you go up there? I know I'm cutting you off.
No.
Do you go up there and dress up?
Absolutely.
I was going to say,
So
are
that's
you
part
involved?
of what you're doing is
For sure.
Which clown are you? What are you like? What is your clown persona? I'll have to look at it as you guys are talking. I'll look it up.
Yeah. It's just so I don't know if I have a persona per se.
So you just go up there and they go, okay, Brian, your role this year is to be the chainsaw clown.
So I'm in a spot where you go through. It's called the laser swamp.
Is
We
it
have
the
a
same
fog
every
machine.
year?
The laser swamp.
Yeah,
laser.
the last 2 years it's been the same.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So it has this laser swamp where at about 4 foot we have this laser and you have this fog and you can't see below that laser.
Okay.
And that's kind of one of those areas where people get backed up. And then right past that you go into a dark tunnel that has fog also. You can't see anything. And I'm right at that spot to where I can push people through there. So
And how do you do that?
Cool.
just by, a lot of motivation. And I have these little
Loud screaming.
Yeah. And sometimes not loud screaming, just creepy talking in the ear. And I have this little, it's called an air cannon, airzuka, and you pull it and it shoots this puff of air.
Have you ever gotten like hit?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I could see because
But the good part is, I'm not a small guy, so they're typically not apt to hitting me. And that's why I'm in the spot I'm in.
You got to watch out for those 98-pound women, man. They're the ones that'll take you out.
I lost a shoe one time in a haunted house.
Because you took it off and threw
No,
it?
I came out of my shoe and I was too afraid to go back in.
to
So
get
the
it.
rest of the night I had walked around with one shoe
I
on.
have the cure for that. You just don't do haunted houses.
Yeah.
That's the cure.
You're just not adventurous.
I am.
Like me.
I'll stop.
You're just not adventurous. Now, you will walk across the Grand Canyon.
That's exactly right. I'll do
scary.
that.
There aren't scary clowns that jump out of you in bushes and
No, there's rattlesnakes though. When I first met you, one of the projects you worked on when you were in construction was that Porsche dealership at was it 360
183 and
183? Yeah, which has got to be one of the most beautiful buildings in Austin.
Yeah. That was a crazy project. And on the service drive, there's Italian marble, tile. And that's what they drive the cars on.
So what was your role in that building?
So I worked for a company. They were a subcontractor. We did the ceilings and walls, framing, all that kind of stuff for that project.
Yeah.
So I was the operations manager for that company.
Oh, wow. So do they have, or the Porsche buildings, are they all the same buildings throughout, or they're specific to the region?
That one is specific, and believe it or not, from what I remember, I believe Austin is one of the highest revenue generating places in the world or in the U.S. for Porsche.
For Porsche, yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
To buy some of their very desirable cars, like if you want a 911 GT3 RS, you have to have bought like 5 or 6 other Porsches to even be considered for that. Isn't that crazy?
Okay, so wait a minute. I think I remember on a podcast one time I was talking to you about an Hermes purse, and I was like, in order to be able to buy this specific purse, you had to have bought these other purses, and you're like, that's stupid.
That
and
is
you just
stupid,
told me
Michelle.
a stupid story about a car.
My dream car, I've only got one Porsche, so I've got to buy 5 more before I can get my dream car.
Does it irritate you when I say Porsche?
It does.
Yeah.
I shall now use it. Porsche.
So did you buy your Porsche?
I bought it from the South Austin one. Yeah, but I ordered it and had it delivered there, so it was built for me, which is a fun experience. That was really cool. They send you emails going, "Hey, we just finished this part of it. We finished this part. Now it's getting loaded on the boat. It's over here. It's pretty cool."
You have to tell him how you bought the Porsche, why one of the reasons why you bought the Porsche.
Brian, I had this Audi SQ5, which was a pretty cool car.
Yeah.
And the day I got it, I took her out for a drive in it. And she said, "This is a mom-mobile."
Oh.
The very first day I had it.
Oh.
And just
like,
for years, I just kept like, "Oh, let's go in the mom-mobile." And then when he was like eyeing this Porsche, I was like, "You got to get it.
Yeah.
You got to. You only live once, Steve.
Yeah.
You got to get it."
You've earned it.
Yeah, I've earned it. Yeah, it's a fun car, and I'm a little afraid to get a 911 because I might kill myself.
Yeah.
But so now you're doing inspections, home inspections.
Yes, sir.
Are they all homes, or do you do some commercial stuff?
Small commercial.
Okay,
Yeah,
like a house that's now being used for commercial, that kind of thing.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Why inspections?
So left Colorado because, we wanted out. Ended up coming here multiple times just to check it out, make sure, everything's still cool. We want to live here. And I was still working for the company that builds the data centers. And I did a couple jobs with them, got out, went to another company, realized, okay, well, I need to just go full into construction at this time. There's a small stop along the way where I said, okay, well, let's just go crazy and I'll start a food truck. So I did that.
Oh, what was your
learning and curiosity?
What was your cuisine?
Smoked meats. My specialty was smoked salmon. And,
wow.
It was here in Dripping. And
wait, was that over by the old high school or the middle school?
I used to go all over. I did a little stint at Bell Springs Winery. I did Suds Monkey Brewery.
I think I actually have eaten
probably,
some of your old salmon.
I've always thought that's cool, but that's got to be a really hard way to make a living.
It is, man. And it just those people that do it, just God bless them, because man, it was
been there, done that.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's what my wife and I always talk about. We always wanted to do it, had the chance, did it, tried it, realized, nope, not doing it.
So
it's good to do those things in life and realize they work or don't work.
That's
and
right.
just go, yeah, it was nice. We tried it, but let's move on.
Is your inspection company, is that your business or are you part? So how scary is that, being your own boss?
Petrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I love it. I love it because I had employees for so long. I ran companies, did that kind of stuff and realized that, I don't like babysitting people. And most of them aren't going to do what you want anyway.
Yeah.
That sounds like me.
Trust me, I know. I know.
You're preaching to the choir over there.
So my last job was actually, being an operations manager for a subcontractor that, we did framing, all that stuff. Like I said, realized that wasn't where I wanted to be either. Left, I think I was 48.
What's all the training involved in order to be a home inspector?
So, I had all my background in the construction, basically starting from early 2000s in communications. I did a bunch of, building of data centers and that kind of stuff, and then went into full board construction and got out, quit my job, and made school my full-time job. Took me about 3 months, and it was during COVID, so it was all online. And I'm not really an online learner.
Yeah, it's hard.
I had to figure that out. Took the test, and I remember it was at a Pearson testing center right over on 71.
Mm-hmm.
And, you have to raise your hand. You can't talk in there. And they came and got me and said, "How'd you do?" I go, "I'll see you next week," because I know I failed that thing. And they handed me the paper, and I passed, and I literally cried because, you get to that age, you go, okay, I'm going to change. I'm going to do another pivot, and I'm going to put all my eggs in this basket, and I'm going to do it, and all that pressure. And, just kind of like, holy smokes, I did it. And
has it been as rewarding as you expected it to be?
Even more.
Really?
Even more. Yeah. This is, it's truly what I want to do and where I want to be. And I really, really, really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that makes you stand out. There are inspectors out there that you feel like they just show up and go through the motions and that they're really not into it and they just kind of like paying the bills. Yeah. But you really take the job very seriously.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's kudos to you. So most people, we're in the business, so we talk to inspectors all the time, but don't even understand the process. So, we call you, we got this house, we need you to inspect it. You show up. What's the first thing you do? Walk us through kind of the basic steps of what you do.
The inspection actually starts when I'm pulling into the neighborhood, right? Because you want to see what the roads are doing. What are the other lots doing? Are they mature trees? Are they, how old are the homes? I mean, it really starts from just pulling in the neighborhood. I get there, I set up, and I remember, I can't remember his name. But in the beginning, he told me, he goes, "It's not really what you're looking for. It's what you're looking that's missing or that's wrong," right? Because there's so many different things in a home that we have to know about, but they don't all necessarily come up all the time. So you have to be thinking, okay, what's missing or what's wrong? And it's not really what is there. It's the lack of.
Does TREC require you to do the inspection in a very structured way?
No.
You establish that.
Correct. I established my own flow.
Okay.
And most of us have different ones.
Okay.
And my flow actually changes from winter to summer. In the summer, the first thing I do is go in and I turn on the AC.
That's smart.
And I do it,
I bet you learned that one the hard way, didn't you?
You know it. And as it's cooling off, I'll do the attic at a certain point, get, hot, come in, cool off, do the exterior, come in, cool off, do the roof, come in, cool off. So I do it in stages so it's not all that heat at the same time. But in the wintertime, it changes too. But the flow I like is I go in, I set up in the kitchen, start the dishwasher, start the oven, because those are the things that take the longest.
Right.
Mess with the HVAC, and then I put my left shoulder on the wall and I walk the whole house.
Oh, okay.
That way, you never take a right. It's always taking that left, that left, that left. So you make sure you hit every square inch.
Oh, that's interesting.
So the reason,
and that's just you're just generally looking for things that are out of place.
Correct.
Okay.
Or wrong.
Do you go by every outlet and test every single outlet? And if, let's say there's a heavy piece of furniture in an outlet, how are you?
So if there's a heavy piece of furniture, I'm not going to move anything.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to move anything. So I'll go around that furniture, but any open receptacle, it's not an outlet.
One of the biggest questions I have is, why do inspectors hate trees, shrubs, and vines so much?
Well, we don't hate them, but the requirement, the standard, is they should be 3 to 4 feet back from the structure.
Okay.
So any kind of pests or anything like that can get to the house from those trees, shrubs, or vines.
You touched on a word, a requirement. And so we hear that a lot, whether it's like a best practice, it's against code, or requirement. Can you talk about the differences between those?
So home inspectors aren't code inspectors. That's
okay.
one thing most people, don't understand or don't realize. Everything, all of our standards or whatever the word you want to use is based off of codes, but we're not code inspectors. We can go and get a code inspection license, which most of us do. I haven't done that. But we have a standard operating procedure from TREC, Texas Real Estate Commission, that we are the minimum standard for us to follow.
Yeah.
And we can go above and beyond that as long as we're trained to go above and beyond that.
So one of the things from being a real estate broker side of it, we love inspectors and we hate inspectors sometimes.
Yeah.
So buyers, they hire you to get their inspection. That's another thing that's people don't understand. Like I'll list a property and the inspection's scheduled and the seller will say, well, when are we getting the inspection? I go, well, the inspection's not for us. It's for the buyer. The buyer's doing their due diligence. But the things that come up sometimes, this is what drives us nuts as mostly listing agents, is you get a list and every house, you probably never had a house that didn't have less than probably 7 or 8 is probably like the minimal number of things you've ever seen.
Maybe even more than that.
Yeah. And so you get this list and the buyers just they freak
Every time.
Yeah. And I think one of the hallmarks of a good inspector is to walk them through and say, these are the things you should be concerned about. Mm-hmm. These things are things you might want to look into. And these are things that are I just got to put them on here, but they're not things for you. Is that part of your process? For
sure. Yeah. I'm one of those inspectors that I like the buyer to be at the inspection. Yeah. I want to walk them through that because 9 times out of 10, they haven't bought a home in Texas, right? So we have a certain format we have to follow and all these things that we have to do because of TREC. And like you said, when they get that report, there's so much on there and they freak out. And it's like, well, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And most of these are maintenance issues and very, very easy to rectify.
You know what I thought was strange during the COVID boom, when so many people were writing contracts and waiving the inspection, but Steve would always recommend, he's like, look, even if you're waiving the inspection to our buyers, still get an inspection so you know. Yeah. And I thought that was very,
what you're getting,
you know what you're getting, and it's not a surprise, that you can adjust it. You talked about deferred maintenance. What's the most common deferred maintenance that you're consistently seeing in houses?
Just sealant around the outside.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Caulking. Yeah. You're talking about, $50 worth of caulking, exactly. Maybe. I know. We see that a lot. And people freak out about it sometimes.
Oh, I know. Well, one of the things that Steve and I do when we're doing kind of like our pre-listing walkthrough is I try to look at things, Steve does also, things that you as an inspector might see. And so we like to kind of ready our sellers to say, look, you'd rather want our eyes on it right now. And if I'm seeing an issue with your AC vents or something like that, your inspector most definitely. And screens, get those screens out where at least the inspector knows that they're there, that you get these screens there. And
the other thing that we always tell people is, so say it's a repair that's going to be $100. A buyer goes, well, it's $100, but they're going to charge me a $300 service call, and I got to take the day off work, and I got to make phone calls. I want $1,500 for that. That's the way buyers always think. Yeah, so let's just do the $100 fix now and save that whole conversation.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is it true, if you see a broken receptacle, a light switch that's broken, is it common to put in an inspector report, have a licensed electrician change that broken receptacle, and why is that so
cover
stupid?
Your butt statement.
Okay, CYA.
Well, actually, our real estate contract says that if there are repairs, it has to be done by a licensed professional.
That's crazy.
Well, but think about it though. Brian points out, hey, this light fixture needs to be replaced, and Mr. Seller Handyman goes to Home Depot and buys a new outlet or a new fixture and puts it in and doesn't know what he's doing and wires it wrong.
Yeah. That is
I don't want to be a buyer on a house with something that's not.
No,
wired
I'm just
right.
talking about the light switch, or if it's broken.
Even
but
the light switch,
I always tell them, like, it's literally 25 cents at Home Depot. Go get it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you can wire a light switch wrong.
Correct.
Yeah. And people do it.
All the
Even
time.
brand new houses sometimes.
All the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's your job to catch that stuff.
For sure. Yep.
One of the things that happens to us sometimes is the inspection will happen, and it's usually out of just coincidence. And the seller comes home and they go, my dishwasher won't come on.
This was working before.
It was working before. The inspector broke it. Have you had those situations?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Whenever I hear somebody say that, I just feel for the inspector because I know you didn't do anything wrong.
One of the craziest ones was, we test shower heads. We test all that, right? So it's just a habit. I go in and I turn the shower head toward the wall so it doesn't spray me.
Sure.
I had a lady fighting mad because I did not turn the shower head back the way it was. I'm not even kidding. And the realtor that was a part of it too.
Oh, is that right?
I bet you go and you lower the toilet lid too, and you're like, I always keep that toilet lid up. You better keep it up.
So I do. And, because we have to check to see if the toilet is loose. And I use my legs because I'm not going to use my hands.
Yeah.
So I lower the toilet lid.
That's what I do too. I use my foot all the time. Do you recommend, aside from if you're just a homeowner in general, my husband and I kind of do this on our own about once a year, maybe once every other year, but do you recommend just regular homeowners sometimes just getting an inspection of their home? Is that different from like a home that's on the market?
It all depends on what you want out of that, right? Because that can scare you too. And then I think one of the rules is, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, if you have a home inspection within 2 years of selling your home, it has to be
disclosed. Yeah. So say you're not thinking about selling your house right now, Michelle, and you get Brian to do an inspection for you, and he comes up with 20 things and you fix 10 of them. Well, if you decide to sell the house in a year, you have to put that inspection as part of the seller's disclosure, and then they're going to see, well, you fixed 10 of these things, but not these other 10.
But if you're an ethical person, right, and you're like, something's a real hazard, well,
then you put it on the seller's disclosure.
Yeah, you put it on the seller's disclosure because you knew about it.
The inspector recommended that we have. Give me an example. We have
a sprinkler head.
Yeah.
This broken sprinkler head.
And you say we just didn't do that.
Yeah.
Then you're covered.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. But I think as peace of mind as a homeowner, I mean, more and more people, Steve and I were talking about this with the lower interest rates, and more people are staying in their homes a lot longer than they used to be. I see a lot of deferred maintenance. I see a lot of things that people are doing once they put their house for sale that we have the conversations, wow, I wish I should have done this a lot sooner. Yeah. Why don't you do it sooner and enjoy your house? And
I hear that all the time.
Well, most people don't know there's maintenance involved in a house. I mean, they don't. Like a roof. I always suggest every time at least have a roofer come out once a year, once every 2 years to come and kind of give a tune up.
Yeah.
Check it over, make sure everything's good, because if you maintain it, it lasts longer.
Yeah, even metal roofs. You got the little rubber boots on there around the vents.
You just had to have yours replaced.
Well, it was just a maintenance thing. Yeah.
Sure.
It wasn't cheap though. It was actually more expensive than I thought.
Yeah, no.
So kind of following that same thing, have you ever actually broken something?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I stepped through a ceiling once.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So what do you do in that instance?
Well, you repair it.
Yeah.
I mean, it cost me money to repair it.
Yeah.
And it was so silly because in an attic, if there's not a walkable platform, we should not be walking on the joists, right? And I wasn't. My foot slipped. It was one of the houses where I have to take off my shoes.
Yeah.
It was in my socks. Foot slipped off the little platform there. It just dented the ceiling. Yeah, and I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. So
your inspection fee's out the window. Plus another couple $100 probably to get that fixed.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever seen?
Weirdest. The weirdest inspection I've ever had was a pre-listing inspection out in Spring Branch, Bulverde area, 7,000 square foot home. It takes a long time.
Yeah.
The owner was there going around. By the end of the inspection, 4 hours or so later, we're in the kitchen. And he goes, I guess if you're like a serial killer or something, you wouldn't want to have a home inspection. And at this point, how do you
That's
react to
something
that?
I would say. That's something I would say.
And I just looked at him and I go, I'm not really sure why you would say that to me right now. And he goes, well, no, if you were like hiding something in the closets. And it made me think about that.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm not looking at items.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what color paint they had or what kind of, I'm looking at, structural things and things like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you had a gold bar in a closet, I'm probably not going to see it.
Not
to be
even
honest.
notice it. Yeah.
So, yeah, but
I had a friend of ours that she had a home inspection. She didn't know that she was listing the house. She had a home inspection, and during the home inspection, the sellers didn't know they were going to go up in the attic, and they had a full-on marijuana grow.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
It's like, what did you not think that maybe?
We sold a house in South Austin, and the master bedroom was upstairs. And you open the master bedroom
Primary.
closet. I know. We say primary, and
Yeah.
most people are like, "Which
What is
bedroom is
that?"
that?" I don't know what that is. I know we're not supposed to say master anymore.
Master.
But you open the closet, and there was these life-size dolls
Oh,
sitting on the floor,
Oh, no.
and they were just like looking at the door, and we both freaked
Yeah.
because the house was empty. It was like, what the hell's this little kid doing in here?
Do you know how much fun I had with those dolls? Like when we would open house agents and I would walk through and I would show them the house and I would say, "Oh, and there's something really strange in the closet. Can you look at it for me?" And then they'd walk in the closet and be like, "Ah!" And I was like,
We had another one where she had a 5 foot tall, naked, anatomically correct
puppet.
cowboy.
oh my goodness.
We were like, "You need to pack that up." Really?
Yeah.
Really? Yes.
Or at
you
least
need to
put
pack
clothes
that.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sparky needs to go. For sure.
But right before this, I just did an inspection on a home that was built in 1867.
Oh,
No,
geez,
wow. So what
wow.
are some of the weird things you see in there? Do you have to go
So-
under the crawl space?
Oh, yeah.
You
yeah,
do?
Yeah. So concrete and cement wasn't invented in 1867.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was really, really cool. So, and the real cool part is I inspected it when the owner now bought it. They renovated it and are now selling it. I inspected it for the
that's cool.
current buyer.
Oh,
so I got
wow.
to see the whole transformation,
Yeah.
and it's just, it's spectacular.
Would you say crawling into crawl spaces under houses is one of your least favorite parts of what you do?
For sure. Yeah. Mhm.
I bet you've seen some gross stuff down there.
For sure. Yeah.
Lots of cats.
Dead cats.
Dead
Dead
cats,
cats.
raccoons.
Yeah.
Have you ever had anything
Black
that's
widows.
like really scared you? Like you've inspected something and you're like, I can't believe these people have been living like this. Now we've seen something like that. We're gone into kitchens and live wires and extension cords across the sink. But have you seen something
All
where
the
you're like,
time. All the time. I had a 1 year warranty, and they had a live electrical in the island.
Really?
Brand new construction. Yeah, for sure.
we took our cabinets down just not too long ago for this remodel that we're doing, an unintentional remodel, and there was the cabinet people stuck the cabinet with the receptacle right there and with nothing. We're like, literally,
happens all the time.
No.
that was crazy.
I know. It's like this. If they can get away with it, they'll get away with it for the most part.
Well, you gotta
No,
realize
some of them.
Most of them, they don't know the other trades.
Right.
You have this specific job in this construction, and you don't know what the other people are doing or what they're going or what they need. So you just do your job and get out.
Yeah.
And that's the
You
that's an
talked
issue.
about like the caulking around the outside of the house. I saw something that said one of the least or the most overlooked items in the home that your home can catch fire on are those air vents in the bathroom, because people don't ever think to clean those out.
Oh, you get lint in there.
Lint in there, and then it kind of goes up to the attic. Is that something that's on your inspection that you're
Absolutely.
looking at those? Are you pulling those little? No.
Nope.
You're not allowed to pull them out.
Yeah,
right?
flashlight, and it's from the toilet paper, right?
Is
Really?
that right? Oh,
Yeah.
the lint from the toilet paper.
toilet paper gets up there. That's why it's so dangerous, because it's so
Interesting.
flammable.
Yeah.
Dryer vents are the same thing. Yeah.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
probably need to have our dryer vents cleaned out. Have you ever done an inspection and then the buyer shows up and you say, you shouldn't buy this house?
I will never do that.
Yeah.
That is not my decision making. My whole job is to give them education and information so they can make their decision.
Yeah.
I get the
But there
question
will
all
be
the time.
signs. There will be signs.
Yes, for sure. For sure. Now, after the fact, after they make their decision, I, will do another inspection on another home for them and I'll go, good job.
Yeah.
Good job, but
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird position to be in as a realtor because, we see so many houses and then we look and, we look at you do an inspection, we look at your inspection report and I go, man, this is, there's a lot here.
Yeah.
But they love the house. They want the house. Is it my job to tell them not to do it? But, so I'll say something like, well, there's some things here to be concerned about. We should discuss this and make sure that's, you want to proceed. But
That's the
hard to
benefit of
say,
having a
"Don't
good
do it."
agent, though. I mean, let me tell you, I've heard you many, many times on the phone try to take that panic mode from an inspection report and say, okay, let's break this down. Let's look at it realistically.
That's and that is normally when you get in. Like I've had somebody go, "Oh my God, this house is falling apart," and I'll go, "This is one of the cleanest inspections I've ever seen."
Yeah.
Literally, there's like 5 things on here, and they're all just cheap, easy fixes.
That's
There's
right.
nothing wrong with this. So but sometimes. I'm trying to think of a specific house, but we've had some where the inspection. Well, actually, we sold that house in Leander, and that inspection report was like 85 pages.
You
long.
want to talk about a serial killer house? That's the house I thought that a serial killer lived in there. I was like, oh, but it's funny because sometimes when we do these pre-listing walkthroughs, and whether or not we get the listing or not, it's like Steve and I'll look at each other's like, that inspection report's going to be a nightmare.
It's going to be a doozy.
And trying to get that conversation or that dialogue with the seller and say, look, let's take care of this now so it's not a problem. And then I think when you open that conversation at the very beginning and then when you're in negotiations and you have a contract, I think you've already opened the door. And Steve does a really good job with that. But so one of the questions I have for you is, they say if you're a plumber, you always have leaky faucets, right? And if you're
She's going to ask you what your house is like, Brian.
Yes. What is the thing that your wife says, Brian, I have been telling you to fix this over and over. There's one thing that she has been nagging on you to do and you haven't done yet.
it's actually the reverse. Because she's
you're
laid
gonna-
off right now. And I want to remodel the bathrooms, and I can't do it. So that's the biggest thing. But the one that I was, I guess, embarrassed about, my fireplace chimney on the exterior. I don't go on my own roof. I don't like roofs. I got to climb on one all day.
Sure.
I'm not going to go home and get on my roof, right? And I was just out there one day. It was probably a year and a half ago, and I looked up and it was rotten. I mean, I had a 2x6 just falling off, and I was like, "Oh my God,
Isn't it crazy?
I'm the dilapidated house in the neighborhood." And
It's crazy. You just get going about your life, and then stuff just blends into the background, don't you? And you don't see it until some reason makes you take a look at it. But
so I jumped up there and I was going to replace it and do it all. And my wife looked at me. She goes, "No." She goes, and she finally got me to understand this portion, right? I don't want to do my own work. Number one, it's dangerous on the roof.
Yeah.
Right? But she goes, "You don't come with a warranty."
oh,
And I was like, wow. So if I mess this up, there's no warranty. But if I pay someone, they've got a warranty. I
That's
said,
right.
Cool. Okay. I'll let someone else do
Yeah.
it. So, yeah.
I thought she meant if you fell off the roof, you'd be broken.
Well, that
There's
too.
a warranty.
That too. But,
There's a big warranty. It's called life insurance.
If you fall off the roof, Brian, make sure you do it right.
Make sure you
That's right.
fall hard.
Yeah. When you're doing inspections, have you ever had the seller hang out and walk around behind you the whole time?
all the time.
Does it happen all the time?
Well, not all the time. Pre-listing inspections are, I just had one just this week or last week. He was there, and he's an engineer. Engineers are the worst.
Yeah, they are.
I love them because I've
I'm married to an engineer.
I connect with them and I understand it, and I would do the same thing, but it's like,
No,
leave
try
me
to go
alone.
through and remodel with an engineer.
Oh, good, no.
I'm surprised I haven't thrown him off the roof. What is that? So you've seen a lot of houses. You just mentioned one that you inspected from the 1800s. If you could pick an ideal time frame of when these houses, you're like, that was a well-built house, a decade that you've
That's a
been
good
seeing.
question.
Like, what would you be like? Is it the 50s? Is it the 80s? I mean, you sure as hell know it's not COVID years.
No, it's not. That's just a tough one because everyone does so much different building now. And even back then, it was the same thing, you know. I've got a couple builders that I would love to build my house because I trust them and I've seen their work and I know they care and I know they're doing the right thing. But there's not really a time frame.
It's more the specific builder.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
They just don't build houses though like they used to. Even
No.
we have a good friend of ours, Mauricio. He lived in his house in Sunset Canyon for maybe 25 plus years or so. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
And he just moved to San Marcos. And I was talking to him on the phone a couple weeks ago, and he said the build quality, just the door frames, the things that they did back 25, 30 years ago.
It seems like in the last decade or even less, they just started building houses to last 30 years, like the length of the mortgage, kind of like a car, right? It's going to last 5 years. Payments are done. It falls apart. It's
I didn't think about it in that sense.
Yeah.
We used to build with more room, right? There was more spaces in the walls. And, you know, now everything is crammed. Every square inch is, you know, basically squeezed out of a home because you want that square footage. So that's one of the big differences.
Are you doing, or do you inspect like smart homes? Are you inspecting like that kind of technological aspect of it? Because I know there's a lot of people move in and they're like, I don't even know what the hell this stuff does.
Yeah. No, not on that aspect because there's so many different ones. And another reason I'm not a pool inspector is because there's so many different types of equipment and technology in that, you know, I got into this business to be the best for the client, right? So if I can't keep up with that technology, like on a pool or smart homes and things like that, I don't feel like I can give them the best product. So I don't do that.
You're lucky you're not a pool inspector with the ASR thing that's going around now. I bet those guys are.
Oh, I bet. But I even think of like these faucets that you just touch and they turn on. I mean, there's so many things that can break nowadays. Like, you know, we were looking for a new dishwasher and it's like, oh, there's an app on your phone. I don't want a freaking app on my phone. I just want to hit start. Like, and when I went and bought a washing machine, I want the good old Maytag. Wash.
Our washing machine and dryer is Wi-Fi enabled. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why? What? I want to start a load of laundry sitting here in my office at
Will it fold it for me too?
Really, yeah.
For
Let's
sure.
concentrate on cleaning the clothes the best we can.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
I don't care about
And
that.
that's it.
That's right.
Yeah. When you were talking about climbing up on roofs, what if you have like a really high roof, like a 3-story roof? Do you do drone or anything like that? How do you inspect those?
So binoculars, ladders, that kind of stuff. Don't walk them. I am looking at getting my Part 107C, whatever it is, to do drones.
Okay, because that's getting to be kind of a thing, isn't it?
It is, but I like to touch it.
Yeah.
Right. That's the one thing that you kind of lack using a drone. But on those higher roofs and very steep, high-pitched roofs that we don't walk, you know, you want to get that bird's eye view.
Yeah,
so that is definitely something I am in the process of doing.
Yeah, one more piece of technology for you to learn.
For sure.
Have you ever done an inspection? I think I know the answer to this. You leave the house and you're like, I got to go home and take a shower. That was disgusting.
Yeah.
We've gone on some listing appointments for places, and I'm like, oh man, that was rough.
I just look at Steve and he's breaking out in hives.
Well, it's funny too. Like you walk into a house and the owner's there, and you know the first thing out of their mouth is, "I'm sorry, it's so dirty," right? And it's not dirty.
Oh yeah,
right?
we have those.
But you walk into a house where you're sticking to the floor. They never say, "I'm sorry, I'm so dirty." Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out what the difference is there.
Just push the 9 cats out of the way over there, Brian.
We had a house one time, and I've been with Steve now for 10 years in this business.
I don't know how.
I don't know how. Please. I light a candle every single night. And this house was the absolute worst, a house of horrors. And I saw a vacuum cleaner sitting over in the corner, and I looked over at Steve and I said, that's the most unused appliance in this entire house.
It's probably never been turned on.
It was actually crying for me. Please use me. Well, I have some rapid fire questions.
Yeah,
Do you have any other?
I was just having nightmares about that house. I was sitting here going, God, that was so terrible. That was so terrible.
You know, and I walk into some and I go, why do you want me to inspect this?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you
burn it?
What are you thinking I'm going to say? You know?
Burn it.
It's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you always smiling?
No, but I guess, public or in my job, I'm always smiling.
You always have a
You
smile
have a
on your
great
face.
demeanor.
You
about
really do.
Brian. You really do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Every
you.
time I see you, even if maybe things aren't going great, it seems like things are going good for you.
In my accurate social media stalking that I did, not Japan or Hawaii, I see that you were very involved in veteran type activities. And once a Marine, always Marine is kind of the motto there. I guess my question is, how near and dear to your heart is that cause?
It saved my life. You know, my best friends and brothers are all Marines that I met. You know, we've known each other for 25, 26 years, and they are, you know, the dearest, closest people to me.
And they get you, right?
yeah.
Those people that get you.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter, you know, it's kind of like all good friends, but, you know, there's no time has passed when you're together, you know, and if they're hurting or they need something, I would drop anything. And so would my wife, you know. She kind of came into my life at the end of my military career, but she knows all these people, and all these people are her family too.
Well, that's a testament to your character.
Anytime you go through something really challenging with other people, you get tighter and closer with them.
For sure.
That's a bond that is very hard to break.
For sure.
Okay, so here's my last question.
Yeah.
What is worse? Now, it's because it's your business model in one sense. What's worse, owners following you around or buyers following you around?
Buyers' fathers following me.
There's memes about that.
And it's the truth. It's the truth. And I think it's, you know, and I always try and ask people, I say, okay, what do you do for a living? Right. And, you know, they'll say accountant or whatever it is. And I go, okay, I don't know anything about your job. And it's okay for you to not know anything about my job. So don't feel like it's a competition or you're anything less for not knowing this stuff, because it's not your job.
Yeah.
And
you should have a little a la carte. Like, okay, I charge $350 for this. If dad shows up, it's $450. If dad and mom show up, it's $500.
Try being a mom in real estate and going to your kids' inspections. I'm sure they loved me. I could just feel the eye roll back, but I didn't care.
She used a whole roll of blue tape walking
Yeah, I
around
did.
there.
I bring my own blue tape.
And I
Absolutely.
tell all new buyers, you know, that are buying brand new, I'm like, bring your own blue tape.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Didn't you say, are you done with your
no.
rapid fires?
My last question was, if you right now could buy a home, would you buy a brand new home or would you buy an established home?
Established.
There you go.
Because you think the quality of construction tends to be better?
You have a better chance of it being better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the new homes that are out there right now are not very well built. But
Well, and it's just there's no pride. It doesn't feel like there's any pride or
Character.
care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then they're all the same.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
I know. Yeah. They slap brick on one and hardy plank on another. And they're they're all like
And the other thing about, you know, would you rather have a father or whatever it is, what people don't understand is I always ask them to come at the end, and you don't want to interrupt an inspector, right? Because you don't want them to miss something. And that's the biggest fear. I think you asked me on the thing, what keeps me up at night is missing something on an inspection, because I don't want to.
Right.
But it's inevitable most of the time, you know, because we're not perfect. But if you're constantly asking them questions or pulling them away, they're going to miss
Yeah,
something.
your train of thought is totally
Right.
So the lesson there is let the inspector do their job, show up at the end, and let the inspector give you a summary of all the findings.
Yep. And it's not that we want to hide anything or we don't want you to go around and look at what we're seeing. It's that you have to be in that zone and be, you know, you really have to focus.
Yeah. That's been a lot of fun. I like talking about inspections, and because I've learned a lot just from hanging out with you. But what are you doing for fun these days?
Wife and I love to hike and walk and kind of experience things. I love food. I love cooking and traveling.
Yeah.
You know,
You got any big trips planned?
here in a couple of days, we're going to go to Loreto, Mexico, and hopefully swim with the whale sharks.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Do you know what that is, whale sharks?
No, but
They're-
it sounds sharks.
They're the size of whales, but they're sharks.
They don't
Why?
have any teeth. They eat plankton.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
like,
but they're still like 40 feet
yeah,
long.
exactly.
Yeah.
they'll just gum you to death.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, you don't want to get sucked into their mouth accidentally
No,
either. Yeah.
no. So, yeah, we just
Can
like,
that happen?
Yes.
You be sucked into our
Yes,
mouths?
yeah.
Okay, that sounds like fun. No, Brian didn't fall off a roof. He got sucked
He got
into a
sucked up
whale
by a
shark.
but you know, the biggest thing is, you know, you get older is, you know, items aren't really
stuff.
It's
Yeah.
all about experience.
Isn't that the
Yep.
truth,
And I
Brian?
wish I'd have
That's
known
so-
that as a younger,
I know,
you know,
yeah,
because there's so many things that I missed that
Yeah.
I could have experienced. So.
Yeah, I think that's a natural course of life, though. When you're younger, you aspire to have a pair of Air Jordans. When you get
Right.
older, you aspire to go swim with the whale
Exactly.
sharks. You know,
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that I mean, wow, that's really cool. And then when you were in Colorado, you were a big mountain biker.
Mountain biking, road biking, snowboarding. You know, we did it all.
All that
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah. You doing any of that stuff now?
I do a little bit of mountain biking, but you know, the body's
Yeah.
you know, taking a beating over the years, and
Oh, you wait. It gets
yeah.
worse.
I know. It's yeah.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Buckle up. I remember 48. My feet didn't hurt when I got out of bed in the morning at 48.
I came into Steve's this morning. I was like, I think my foot is broken. He goes, is it? He's like, you may want to go get that
She's
looked at.
like, yeah, should I go to the doctor? I'm like, yeah, you definitely should go to the doctor, Michelle.
I remember the last knee thing I did. My wife come running, you know, she came running up and she looked at me and she goes, what happened? I go, my knee. She goes, again?
Oh, right.
She goes, you're retired. It's over. I'm done with this. She was so mad at me.
There is a point in your life where you start, like, I used to play soccer and I played sand volleyball. Were you playing sand volleyball when you got hurt?
Did you play sand
But I used to play
volleyball?
sand volleyball.
Yeah, but you get to a point where you go, you know, something's going to break here and I'm not going to do this anymore. So, but you know, it's just live to fight another day kind of thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any more questions?
No, I'm just fascinated they used to play sand volleyball. I hope there's pictures somewhere.
Do you think he was Maverick or Goose?
Oh, right. That's what I would like.
Maverick. I was definitely Maverick. Maverick, but taller.
I need pictures.
He was Goose.
I need pictures.
And that's
Oh,
okay.
great. Oh, jeez. You guys are going to be best friends now. Well, Brian, this was really fun.
Thank you.
I love the fact that even though we've known you for a couple years, we've known you even more now than we did
sure.
before.
We know or
so
know you now.
Now we know you.
Yes.
Well,
no, this has been awesome.
yeah, and we wish you the best of luck with your company, and
Thank you.
hope that 2025 is going to be a great year.
Absolutely. How do they get in touch with you?
AJI Inspections. My number is 512-808-8028. That's the best way.
You've now just been signed up for political junk mail.
Yeah, you'll get
It's already
150
happened.
texts a day.
Yeah, well, luckily after today, you know, that'll be gone
Hopefully.
for a little while.
We sure hope so, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, you can't go wrong hiring Brian. So
Thank you.
Well, it's been a lot of fun. Thanks
Yes,
for
sir.
coming on, Brian.
Thank you for having me.
Nomic Power Solutions, keeping you powered up.
Get to know your local full-service Generac dealer.
Cody and Dylan with Nomic Power Solutions are a veteran-owned, Texas-based Generac dealer and installer.
Offering low monthly payment options, it's never been easier to gain independence from the grid.
Call or text 512-387-4232 or visit nomicpower.com. Follow on Instagram at Nomic Power for updates.
Turnkey service including design, plumbing, electrical, and permits.
They even offer set it and forget it maintenance plans. Nomic Power Solutions.
Protect your home. Protect your family. Stay ready.
Ready to turn your land dreams into reality? Look no further than Capital Farm Credit.
Need a loan for your perfect piece of land? Capital Farm Credit is there for you.
Their dedicated team will tailor a loan to fit your unique needs because your dreams are their priority.
Capital Farm Credit. Your land, your legacy. Visit capitalfarmcredit.com or Mark Rutledge at 512-892-4425.
Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better.
Capital Farm Credit, an equal credit housing lender.
This show has been brought to you in part by the real estate pros at the Mallet Integrity Team. When you're looking to buy or sell, you need them on your side. Why settle for less when you can have real estate done right? Give them a call at 512-829-2062 or get more info at malletintegrityteam.com.
You know you like us, so go now to Apple Podcast or Spotify and leave us a review. Why don't ya? We love your feedback and comments. Email us at malletandmichelle@gmail.com.
Thanks for putting up with us.